today is June 18th, 2019, and it's pretty much 9:36 a.m. in London when I'm doing this market update. This is an update we do pretty much Monday to Friday, pretty much around the same time, 9:30. The best way to get notifications is just to subscribe to our YouTube channel. You'll be receiving a little notification, especially if you click on that little bell button just next to the subscribe button. Let's take a look at the markets. So we're seeing a bit of interesting price action, and I think the most interesting actually is the German DAX. We're gonna look at that in a minute. But you can see Euro a little bit lower, Aussie dollar a little bit lower as well. Otherwise, gold up. That's a good one. We actually really want to keep an eye on gold over the next few weeks. And then stock markets are up a bit, but the German DAX, I'll show you exactly in a few minutes why that is interesting. So not too much happening, but a bit of dollar strength and a bit of stock market bullish price action. Now, in regards to the euro versus the USD, it's sort of just crumbling down. It's just going lower. This could, however, though, change dramatically in the next 24 hours, more or less. Actually, not 24 hours. It will be slightly more than 24 hours. But tomorrow at 7 p.m. London time, the Central Bank of the United States of America, the Federal Reserve with the FOMC, which is some of the members from the Fed, they will decide on monetary policy. And they will probably not cut interest rates tomorrow, but they will definitely hint about interest rate cuts in the next month. And if they don't, as you probably guess, then you're probably going to see weakness if they don't say they're going to cut rates, you see dollar strength. You can also see what's also driving this lower today is, of course, is the Draghi saying that further cuts and policy interest rates, remain a part of the toolbox. So that's specifically what we're going down today. Probably also why the German DAX has reacted the way it has. But I wouldn't get too excited about the dollar right now because the central bank will most likely cut interest rates. And technically we're within that range as well. So for now, at least, I think we might go down, maybe test support down here, and then we'll see what happens. We do have a triple bottom, low from April 25th, May 23rd, and May 31st. So if we take out the low, we can definitely see the market head much more lower, I suspect. But I wouldn't get too excited. GBP versus the USD. Yesterday it slid below support, as we talked about. We talked about the market potentially taking out support, which makes perfect sense. I think here the market could potentially, I'm not saying it will bounce, but if it does bounce to something like 126, then I think traders will be quite happy to short sell here. Stop loss orders initially are going to go above 27.12. So that will be my trend defining level. So I think people probably going to sell here and try to push price lower, and then we'll see what happens, because it looks quite likely that Boris Johnson will be the next PM of the UK, as we've been saying over the last few weeks, and he has an agenda where he's happy to not happy, I don't think he wants to see the UK without a deal, but he really wants the UK to leave the EU, and he's happy to use no deal as a bargaining chip. And you all know he's very, very close to President Trump, probably more than you can actually see officially, and it wouldn't surprise me if we try to mimic some of the negotiation style that President Trump is using. It will be interesting though if he sticks to it, and that's the challenge, right? If he will stick to it, because you need to be. I don't think it's easy to have like. Sort of the negotiation style that Donald Trump has, because you really have to be sticking to the principles and rules, and of course you can do like major changes, but look now, US versus China, right? Nothing has really happened, and we'll see what happens if the economy slows down further, if he's going to budge or not. Dollar versus the Japanese yen, there's not a lot of activity happening here, and the market is going upwards maybe to 109. And I think from here, people are going to try to short sell. I have anticipating this market to trade lower. The yen is gaining, but not against the dollar. It's gaining against versus other currencies. And I think you just need to look around. It's not that difficult to figure out where the action is in the yen pairs, but it's not in the dollar yen. Here is the price of gold, and gold prices are short-term bullish about 1319.93. We talked about buying down here yesterday, and the market managed to create a low in that section, and I think we can probably go up. Could maybe go down a little bit, but then potentially upwards. No change to the stop loss for now. We need to take out that high. What I really like with gold is if we start to break out above 1376. I think that's when I'm gonna get more involved. Try to go along here and target these highs. Crude oil prices, they're just turning sideways. There's absolutely nothing happening here, so there's actually no point being short or long unless you're really convinced that we're going to trade lower. In the bigger picture, we definitely have a bearish trend. In the short term, though, since pretty much the beginning of June, nothing has happened. So it's been 18 days now with no real price action. So there's no point in assuming anything will happen right now. My preference still remains selling on a break to 56.2. Here's the S&P 500, and it's trying to trade upwards. I think it's probably because of those comments by Mario Draghi. They are in Sintra. If you haven't visited Sintra, it's a beautiful place in Portugal. Very rich history, and I think it's the ECB summit or so, what they're hosting over there. And one of the speeches here says that, cutting interest rates still remains part of the toolbox, because it makes perfect sense. If the U.S. is going to cut interest rates, because of global economic growth, eventually it's going to hit Europe. What has happened though, and in fact, Europe is actually already leading here. So most likely, if it goes weaker in the U.S., it's not going to go stronger in Europe. That would be silly to assume that. What's quite interesting though is that the ECB many times are very, very stubborn. So they wait until like six months, 1 year after they should have cut interest rates, and that's when they start to get involved. And that happened during the financial crisis. So you can have a delayed reaction, which can be interesting from a trading perspective. But now it looks like they're actually ready to already sort of try to talk down interest rates. So I guess that's what's driving the DAX, and here in the S&P 500. I wouldn't get really excited, but we're going to go a little bit higher, potentially, if we take out 29.11. As well with interest rates, I mean, if the Fed indeed starts to cut interest rates, they're not cutting it because the economy is doing good. They're cutting it because the economy is going bad, and they think it's going to go even worse in the future. So I think it's worthwhile observing and see what's going to happen over the next few days. Now, obviously, if the market takes out the high, then yes, okay, let's just be bullish. But until that happens, I'm just going to assume that we're going to move lower eventually. And here's the German DAX, and this is what makes things interesting. This is your 1 hour chart. You can see at 8 p.m. the market just slid and now quickly sort of move upwards. I wouldn't get too excited, but it would be fair to assume that if we take out this high at 12,230, then we can probably go to 12,410. I think that makes sense. Okay. I was hoping for a slightly deeper pullback so we can have a better head and shoulders pattern, but we're not really getting that today. I wouldn't get too excited. We're just at the highs. We might just roll over and go down again. But that's something I don't want to trade. I'd rather just, if you want to trade short stock markets, wait for the S&P to take out the 2866 here. And in the German DAX, it's more about just waiting for that scenario to kick in. Alternatively, it goes down, and then we sort of trade that head and shoulders. And that's pretty much it. So we covered most of the major markets. If you have any question, just put them in the chat box. We have Marvin here. Good morning to you, sir. I hope you're doing well. I'm going to check something out here. Just give me a second. If you guys are in London on Thursday, we're hosting a free seminar in London. So if you are in the neighborhood, let me know. here are my contact details. You need to sign up for joining or let me know. So I can put you in touch with David. So we have two events actually. We have one on Tuesday coming up, but the one on Tuesday is fully booked, so we can't fit more people in there. And then we have one on Thursday as well. So if you happen to be in London or interested to come and meet me, get to know a bit more about ATFX as well, then you should definitely join. So we start at 6 p.m. and we'll talk markets and different ideas. It's literally the five tips to help improve your trading and technical analysis. It's free to join. It's from 6 to 8 p.m. and it's at our London offices. So this is London, and this is the bank, and here you can see it's the Bank of England, and we're actually just here. Here at 32 Cornhill. But if you want to come, you need to let me know, because otherwise the guys are not going to open the door. So it's up here actually. Where are we? There we go. Here we go, 32. And we're actually on this floor here. We have the whole floor. So it's very straightforward. It's very central. This is the station, bank station, and up here's the Bank of England. That's the Royal Exchange. So if you do want to join me from 6 p.m. until 8 p.m. on Thursday, let me know. We still have a few seats left. The room itself only fits about 15 people. So the first session on Tuesday is fully sold out or fully booked. And we still have 3 seats left for the event on Thursday. So check that out. As well, Marvin, you sent me an email and I've been very, very bad. I haven't really replied to it. So I'm gonna do it now. So your question was, can we do so you asked me in essence to look more in depth into macroeconomic topics. And yeah, I think we can do that. Won't be able to do it just right now. So the idea is to go into different subjects of economics. So there's several reasons for not necessarily doing it, and mostly, most people unfortunately don't really pay too much attention to macro fundamentals, and it has to do with the fact that in the short term it doesn't necessarily influence our trading too much. The second thing is it actually takes quite some time to actually do these sort of subjects. Well, what we could do is that, for example, we did that event with Aman Sadiki on the 2nd of May, and he's much more of a macro guy. So maybe I could invite people like him and we could talk more in depth. But it's a good idea. Not too many people do what you just mentioned here, so I'm gonna see if I can do more of it, and probably try to do this not right now because I'm working on another project, but probably in July. We're definitely gonna get Aman in anyway. He's a good guy, and he was right about the markets as well, about short selling. So we're definitely gonna get him in, and I think we're gonna have something probably in July, I would argue. Okay, so we don't have any questions. I think we're gonna wrap things up. Guys, don't forget to hit that like button. It's very, very easy. By hitting that like button, you actually help to spread the word, because what Google is gonna say is like, look, people watch this and they actually liked it. So it's really important that you do, because then we share it, because it's very straightforward. I do different projects for ATFX, and also do my own personal projects, and it's very straightforward. If we see some things like the webinars, people really like them, people share them, then we do more of them. And there's always like new ideas coming in, right? And if some other idea sort of picks up more, then we get rid of some of the webinars. To give you an idea, I used to do a morning webinar and an afternoon webinar, but I don't do the afternoon webinar anymore. So it's really important, if you like it, that you hit that like button, and as well that you share. Marvin, thank you so much for joining me in the chat box, and everybody else that joined me here today. If you have any questions, reach out to Alejandro Zambrano at ATFX.com. You can also reach out via Twitter, via AlexFX00. Have a great day, guys, and I'll see you guys tomorrow, same time here at ATFX. Thank you.